Welcome to Drishtikone TV. Namaste. This is our third episode, and the first two were on partition, which were received well by the viewers. So thank you. Dhanyavad aap sabko. With this, we'll start a new series called The Truth Bites, where we'll share events and actions from history that not many people know of, even though they were very, very significant. Today's episode is about Swami Vivekananda and John D Rockefeller, who was one of the most significant business tycoons in the first half of the 20th century. A French lady, Madame Verdier, had an interesting fact in a diary, and she said in that Madame Emma Cave, a French disciple of Swami Vivekananda, had once narrated an incident to her. In March-April of 1894, John D Rockefeller had heard of this Indian monk who was inspiring people from all over the place with his unusual way of looking at things. Swami Vivekananda was staying at one of the partners or associates of John D Rockefeller, and that associate had invited John over to meet the Indian Swami, but somehow things hadn't worked out. So one day he went to his friend's place and went directly to see the Indian monk. As John D Rockefeller entered the room, Swami Vivekananda kept on doing his work without ever looking up at his new guest. So unlike how others would treat him, Swamiji actually finished his work and then acknowledged his guest, and both started talking. In a very short time, Swamiji realized that Rockefeller had a rather unusual fortune, and he was a very rich man. So Swamiji asked Rockefeller, if you are that much more richer than other people, if you have that much more money than other people, do you think you are that much more smarter than them? He asked Rockefeller, and Rockefeller said, of course. So to this, Swamiji tried to reason out with his brashness and ego and asked him and said, maybe Rockefeller was only 3 times smarter, but had amassed 100 times more wealth than the ordinary American citizens. So it may be a good idea, actually, for him to consider himself as an instrument to give some of it back. And as a parting comment, he said, why don't you think about it? Why don't you consider leaving some of your money for other people? Rockefeller wasn't very pleased, because somebody had actually dared to even talk like that to him. So he left without any word, not even a goodbye. And 1 week passed by, and after this incident, Rockefeller decided to actually come back again and pay Swami Vivekananda another visit. But this time, because he really wanted to, he went to Swami Vivekananda and shoved a piece of paper in front of him on his table. He had given some amount for charity. The amount wasn't that big given his wealth, but it was something to start with nevertheless. Well, there you are, he said. You must be satisfied now, and you can thank me for it, said John D Rockefeller. Without lifting his eyes or moving, Swamiji picked up the paper shoved by Rockefeller and read it. And then he said, it is for you to thank me. That was Rockefeller's first major donation to charity. 15 years later, John D Rockefeller set up his famous Rockefeller Foundation, which after that did a lot of good charity work. That was incidentally the first charitable organization started by any business company in America. After that, many more were started off. There was Carnegie Foundation, and in recent times, we have Bill and Melinda Foundation as well. But that was the beginning of the charitable works by the business organizations. And what this really shows is that beings like Swami Vivekananda are very, very rare. In a very short span of lifetime, they are able to impact the world in multiple ways and in multiple fronts. And we will talk about Swami Vivekananda's other contributions, especially the one to science and its progress in India, in a subsequent episode. So thank you for listening, and please subscribe to our Drishtikone channel and also to the Drishtikone newsletter that comes out every Sunday, India time. And this is a journey that we have taken to share a lot of good, interesting information with all of you. And like, it is a journey and learning for all of us as much as it is for the readers. So thank you so much, and Jai Hind.